Welcome to the show, folks. I am so happy to be back, even with had a fever last week. My goodness, hope everybody is staying safe and feeling well. If you don't know me, my name is Mike Asherbranner, professionally known as the Redneck Connector and proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And you are tuning in to Mike King Biz Radio on ESPN RVA 106.1 FM. Folks, just like I say every week, because it's daggum true. All right, you're in for a treat. We're going to talk about innovation without chaos and strategic integration. Um, because innovation is hot, but integration is not, right? For most of us, good mantra. And that's exactly why most businesses never scale their best ideas. Daggum shame. So we're about to chop it up with the one and only Rick Meekins, all right, strategic vision Sherpa and founder of Epiphany Business Consulting. And we're going to unpack the real art and science of turning bold ideas into lasting advantage, folks. So hold on to your hats if you wear them, and we're going to get this party started. No time to waste.
Looks like your business might be in a bit of a pickle. Don't you worry about a thing. You ain't alone in this. You're just a success story waiting to happen. Trust me on that. Every bump in the road is just an opportunity wearing a clever disguise. Welcome to the Hounds of Business community, where we don't just sit around twiddling our thumbs. Nope, we turn those obstacles into mighty fine stepping stones. This here's a place where high-level entrepreneurs and sharp professionals gather to grow their businesses and mindsets, kind of like how a good old gumbo needs the right ingredients to be something special. Ideas thrive here, and collaborations, well, they're as natural as sweet tea on a hot day. Success, it's a journey, and we're fixing to walk that road right beside you. Now, don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn for all the latest tips and insights. We're talking about the kind of wisdom that'll keep you ahead of the game. And while you're at it, head on over to our YouTube channel. We've got ourselves a treasure trove of videos, from expert interviews to webinars, everything you need to stay sharp in this fast-moving world of business. The Hounds of Business community? Well, we ain't just a network, we're a movement. So why not come on and be part of something bigger? Join us today and let's turn your business journey into a real Southern success story. Together, we'll achieve greatness, just like crawfish and singing on a Friday night.
All right. Well, I already know he probably knows a thing or two about crawfish and singing on a Friday night. So let's bring him up. Rick Meekins, everybody. Yay. That's my son.
Hey, what's up, folks? How are you?
Oh, man, you're ready to go, brother. I love hearing it. How are you?
Doing great, man. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm recovering. I'm doing all right. I'm blessed. I forgot I was sick, man. That's how happy I am today, man.
You don't look sick, man.
No, I don't.
Look like you got it together.
Honestly, when I get to work with amazing folks, you, the Hounds, and all these great, amazing people, I know it sounds corny. Oh, it sounds, like a birthday card, but it's the truth. I'm a blessed guy, so it keeps me up. So, man, so glad to have you guys. And just shameless plug, we're going to have you and your Sean Amy McLean is going to come on the Hounds of Business. So at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on YouTube, you can catch us across multiple platforms. So let's get this started. You have 30 years experience in this wheelhouse. Tell us about who you work with. It's mostly you have extensive experience and knowledge with small businesses. Tell us a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
I gotta tell you, when you say 30 years, it sounds like a long time. I don't know if that's better or like 3 decades, or you've been doing it for a while.
You could have started when you were 10. We'll give you some grace.
Yeah. There you go. That's it right there. That's it right there. Yeah, I've always been one of those people that was always passionate about business, and I had a great opportunity. I guess it was about 30 years ago. Yeah, it was about 30 years ago to work with a bunch of small companies. I had a restaurant at the time, and they were coming to the restaurant, and they were, just hanging out and, networking, that sort of thing. And the thing that I saw about companies is that they weren't really growing. They're doing the day in and day out. They're grinding. They get sick. They don't have business. They got to take care of their kids, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And it was just something that was painful to see. And that was just something like that was always in the back of my mind. And like, when I build a company, when I think about a company, when I think about my restaurant, for example, it's just like, okay, you know what? I need, this staff, I need these people, I need this space, et cetera, et cetera. And it was a stark difference between what I was doing and what they were doing. I'm thinking in terms of longevity. How can I build this thing to sell it? They're like, okay, how can I put food on the table tomorrow? And, it kind of broke my heart. So what I ended up doing was starting a company to help folks be able to scale their companies.
And
That's
it's
my story. I'm
everywhere.
sticking with it, man.
I'm thinking, no, I was just sitting here thinking about all the, mom and pop restaurants, especially out here in my neck of the woods, man. I love them. But you're right. It's just, getting past paying the paychecks, paying all the staff members, and they never get a chance to tap into their real potential and greatness.
Yeah.
And you saw that very early on, man. That's what I like about you. You're a visionary, but you're also very practical, which I'm not always that practical, right? I like to see the vision, but I don't like to go through the processes. And you're really, really great at both. That's why I'm excited to have you. So,
I'm glad to be here.
oh man, on this subject, lots of folks talk about innovation like it's a magic word that solves everything. And it is very powerful. I ain't going to minimize it. But I found what you said to be very telling. You said strategy for the sake of strategy is useless, right? Because we strategy. And I think we forget the meaning behind it. So what does that mean to you? What do you mean by that?
So sometimes we just sit down and we say, okay, I want to, this is the thing that I want to do in X time frame. We just start writing down a bunch of ideas, you know what I'm saying? And we just start putting them out there. We don't really think about how the entire organization, for example, is impacted. So for example, if you say, hey, you know what, I want to improve my customer experience. That's one of my favorite conversations. I come from a hospitality background, so I'm always thinking about, okay, what is the customer thinking about? And so it's like, you're going to create a customer experience. What does that need to look like? What does that goal need to look like? And the first thing you want to do is really look and see what other companies are doing. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, hey, I think this is cool, so I'm going to do this thing. No, because what happens is you end up competing head to head with everybody out there that's already doing it well. It's like, where do you thread the needle in a way that's going to be unique for you? How's it going to work? And the most important thing, two things that we don't always think about is how does it impact the rest of your business? You drive more revenue, et cetera, et cetera. You still have to deliver a product. You still have to take care of your customers, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not just a front thing, but the other piece to that is how do we actually integrate it? Because the other thing that we want to be careful about is over investing. So for example, you say, okay, I'm gonna go really hard and I'm gonna put the CRM system in, and retrain my people. I'm gonna hire people, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what? You don't know if it's gonna work at this point. We gotta take steps. We gotta take small steps to make that impact, see if things work, make adjustments along the way. And that way we're not over investing. We're not killing ourselves for nothing.
No, and let me back that up. When I got the job at the nonprofit sector, I had to Google how to run nonprofits, man. I ain't making that up. Yep. And the first thing I did was to go out there and see what was already out there. What's the standard, right? Well, how are things operating? And between you and I gave it a D-. I mean, I said, oh, wow, I could do some damage. But we ended up hiring someone like you, right, to help us walk through an objective viewpoint. Because you're right. A lot of times people they know they can do it. They should do it. But they do it in a way that causes more harm or more challenges or more money, right? And this is why it's so good to have a seasoned professional that says, look, like a doctor, I wouldn't go on, Google and try to figure it out. I go to a doctor, right? So he knows what to do or she does. And that's the same mindset. I love that. And you've been helpful with me in the house because I don't know the implementation as well as what I want. And it's good to have somebody like you pop my bubble every now and then and say, hey, how are we going to pay for that? How is this going to implement wisely? Yeah, it's a great question that I don't ask, right? So on that note, let's move into it. So you've seen both ends of the spectrum. And by the way, Nathan, Miguel, other folks I can't see probably, thank you for coming. Appreciate you, hounds. All right. So you've seen both ends. Startups chasing the shiny objects and mature companies afraid to change. Where do most leaders go wrong when trying to innovate?
I think one of the areas that they try to innovate is you've got a lot of companies obviously are started with founders. Okay. And these founders, they start companies because they're good at something. You know what I'm saying? And they're running their company and they have these ideas. One thing that we don't do a lot of times is we don't take the time to really evaluate the ideas. Okay. If you've got what I recommend to people is I say, okay, take all of our ideas. Let's put them in a box, so to speak. Okay. And then once in a while, let's go and let's measure those ideas. Hey, what makes sense? What's potentially feasible? Okay. And then the things that we find feasible, we say, okay, how do we actually execute that? How do we actually build that out? When we're not doing that, we're leaving opportunity on the table. a lot of times those ideas that we have, we've got one idea at a time, but if we take sometimes we can take a bunch of those ideas, put them together into something that's going to be, it's going to enable the company to really crush it. And if we just shoot off every time we have a new idea, we never get anything done, first of all, and two, we leave money on the table, right?
I'm thinking of two companies because I don't want to say it. Everybody saw the logo and everybody remembers the I would say a soda commercial from about 4 years ago. Exact prime, just because it sounds good doesn't mean it fits into your model, your brand, your authority, expectation of customer. There's a lot more than just making changes, and it could be very costly. Could be long term, right? Like this is something to be thought out very, very well. Yeah, and I learned the hard way too. I'm not throwing stones in my glass house. I did stuff and I'm like, oh my goodness, because it's more complicated than it looks. So let's move into the innovation or the integration side of this.
Yeah.
So I've heard you say, correct me if I'm wrong, innovation without integration is chaos. Right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then what does effective strategic integration actually look like inside of a company? Skyview.
For sure. What we want to do is want to think about innovation as a process. Okay, so it's not just it's not just where we move from A to Z and then we're there. If you think about the idea of buying a new software, right? Mm-hmm. So you buy the software, you get the subscription, you start to create your users. Are people using it right away? No, they're not. They're looking at it. They're like, how do I use this? Right. And then you get a few bold people that jump into it and they're just like, oh, and they start figuring out their way to do that. It's just this is one of the things that we have to take into consideration. We have to take an iterative approach. We have to take it step by step to make sure that we're making the right steps. We're getting the most out of it. We can be really, really inefficient in this day and age with so much software being thrown at us all the time. We can be so inefficient trying to be more efficient. How many AI developers reached out to you this week, Mike?
I lost count this morning.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. We have to think, and this is the strategic part of it. We have to think about what's really going to make the impact for the company. Okay. We have to think about how each stage of this is going to, what each stage is going to require and how it's going to impact the company. Nothing happens inside a closet. You know what I'm saying? Right. We have to know, and this is a really, really important thing about the innovation process. We have to know when to jump off. We have to be able to say, hey, you know what? This isn't working. Okay. Either I need to make a change or we need to stop, because if we're over-investing in this thing, that's something else that we can't do. Our company's losing money for no reason. We make the metrics ahead of time. We make the metrics before we start the process. We don't start the process and just go, I don't think that doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like when I tried to go to the gym without a plan and knowledge and, eat right. And it's the same thing. You just can't jump in the car and drive it. You got to maintenance it. You got to put gas in. There's a process. Exactly. On that note, though, here's what I found interesting. I could be many founders. All right. I'm throwing stones over this way, man. All right. In the beginning, anyway, assume that they're the best person to drive every big change. All right. And you disagree. Right? So why might the leader not be the best integrator?
Well, a couple of reasons. One reason is a lot of times that the founder is the visionary, and that visionary, think about the idea, right? You're driving your car, and let's go way back, right? You're driving your car, right? And you're headed like someplace, and you got your map, and you're navigating and driving. So what happens when you look down at the map while you're driving? It doesn't work. But if you're driving, you've got a navigator. You've got somebody to sit next to you and say, hey, we need to take that exit. Hey, the kids got to go to the bathroom. We got to get off the road. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be much easier. It's the same with a founder. A lot of times founders are visionaries, and we need our founders to stay at the helm and make sure that things are happening. So even as the innovation process is going through, we who are doing the work are checking in. It's like, hey, does this match your vision? Hey, we see this opportunity here. Hey, here's some pushback on your idea to make your idea even better. Hey, this doesn't work. What should we do? This is the danger sometimes founders fall into. It's like we get so deep in the weeds that we take our eye off the road and then we lose someplace else. We crash someplace else.
And it's unnecessary. That's why we're doing this show. That's why you exist. That's why we promote you in the hounds. because it's not necessary. I did it too. And I'm like, again, I don't go to the doctor. I'm not one. Right? So, hey, let's dive into this. But before we do, folks, and you can go to bigscary.vision. All right. If you're on the radio, if you're tuning in, watching this pre record, or, not pre-record, afterwards. I'm still dealing with the sickness. Y'all get off me. But still, you can unleash your big scary vision at bigscary.vision. All right. So go put that in the web browser. And real quick, want to give a shout out to the one and only Mike King Biz Radio. As I say, probably every daggone week, this man, he pushes up his community and everyone in it so much. They put him on the Jumbotron at the ball games. They love this man. I can see why. So we love you too, Mike King. Thank you for our partnership, pushing people up internationally together all across the globe. Folks like Rick and all these fine folks listening and tuning in. You're a special guy. And folks, hey, shameless plug, don't do this alone. Do not build a business. Don't elevate it. Don't scale it up alone. All right. If you want the people, resources, and support so you can go out there, make a bigger impact with more success, no more strays. Welcome home. You can find us on YouTube, Hounds of Business. Find me on LinkedIn, Redneck1, or you can shoot a old school carrier pigeon, man. I still take those. And by the way, Rick, when you said, go back, yeah, I was back there with the paper map and my Mercury Lynx, all right, 16. Yep. So, yeah, you took me way back. All right. So let's dive into this because I'm having fun here, man. I love this. So let's get a little bit more into the human side. Well, actually, before I do, I have a question. What role does rate of return, ROI, play when deciding whether to move forward with a new idea or an initiative? And can they measure it before it's too late?
It's hard to, it's kind of hard to do. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, if you look at it, sometimes what I do is I take I don't want to say take the revenue out of the picture, but I think about it in terms of impact. Okay. So if I look at it from the perspective of, let's use the customer experience one again. Okay. So if I look at it in terms of, okay, I'm going to streamline my process between my marketing and my sales, my customer delivery, and then I'm going to work on retention from there. How do we get people back into the funnel? Or, what is that going to look like? Okay. And so that in and of itself, we should be able to look and see, okay, we're going to increase our customer retention 20%. We're going to increase our per customer sale by, 40%, 50%. We can look at that, but we also have an impact because whatever we do, especially when we're looking at customer support, it's going to have a little bit of a ripple effect. It's going to impact other potential customers and say, hey, you know what? We've got to get, you got to get the Hounds of Business because this is an awesome platform to be on. We need to be part of this. It becomes a no-brainer for people to start recommending you because they had a great experience with you.
Right. Well, and you're right. I mean, you can't overstate it. When you tweak one thing, you got to account for other things, man. It's like bottlenecks in assembly lines at automotive places. I mean, you can't just get better at this tire aspect of the car building and forget all about the other things. Now it's going to slow it down. And it's same with service-based businesses, right? Entrepreneurship, a lot. I mean, it's a principle. So he's like, well, I don't need that in my business. I don't know. Not if you want to grow and expand and do more. And most of us do. So moving into the people and the culture, because this is important. This is more the implementation, right? You can have the best ideas, game plan, everything on paper works, but if the team ain't in it, So, and you talk about that. Right? If you mentioned that specifically, I remember this. Culture and leadership alignment determine whether innovation lives or dies. What patterns do you see in teams that can actually pull it off, and some that, man, no matter what plan, it's not going to work?
Yeah, it's really. There was a project that I worked on. This is a really great story. So it's a really great company, global company. They're not a huge company, but they've got people all over the world that are working with. They're working with great companies like brands that you would know the names of, right? So we go in this company and get brought in by their operating manager essentially. Okay. And we're working together. We're grinding. It's like, let's redesign the whole sales model. Let's redesign the whole marketing model. We're going to get better data, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're grinding, we're working. And the team's not really buying into what we're doing. They're just giving us pushback. Oh, I don't want to do this differently. Then we find out that the leadership is telling the teams just like, what, if it's not comfortable for you, Bob, then just do it the way that you're used to. You're doing really, really good. That is and then what happens is the operator left, and I'm dealing with the CEO, knows nothing about me, knows nothing about the work. So the project does this. This is the recipe for a huge waste of time and money is really what it comes down to, because the work that we were doing, this is work that would have created, I think it was a game-changing sales organization. I mean, we had such tight integration between the marketing and the sales. We had we had a customer feedback loop that enabled us to put people back into the pipeline repeatedly. We had a referral. I mean, this thing was really, really tight. This thing was a work of art. You know what I'm saying? And everybody lost, because the leadership didn't get the leadership didn't get fully engaged, and then the team didn't get fully engaged. And that's something that happened.
See, that's a great story. And so I'm not going to ask you to answer it because it would be specific to each, company and their needs and what they're doing and innovating. But that's where you kind of stand out with other strategists to me, right? You help balance innovation with stability, right? The buy-in and how to get the teams, because it's one or the other a lot of times. Well, processes, Six Sigma, et cetera. But the other half of the circle, like you just said and demonstrated with a great story, if the team isn't dialed in, ready to play, knowing how to play, right? That's just as important, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you specialize in, is not just processing, but the people that are going to execute. It's like a coach and a quarterback. You can call the play all day, but if you say 5 and in and they don't know what it is, good luck. You ain't winning the Super Bowl no time soon, right?
There you go.
So thank you for that. That was great. So in our last few minutes, let me get this. Let's talk about your strategic disruption accelerator. All right. It's not another thing. So tell us about that, what it is, how it helps people. That's your brand. That's what you've come up with. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this is something I developed. I'm really excited about it. And the cool thing about it is it really hits on what you were talking about. It talks about, it hits on the leadership. It goes into readiness. A company that's running at full capacity does not necessarily have the readiness to integrate something new into their company. So we need to be able to address what those potential gaps and pitfalls are going to be. And we also look at the actual opportunity that the company needs to take advantage of. One of the things that I always do when I work with companies is I don't put stuff in place for the sake of it. I don't put a CRM system in place just for the sake of, hey, we're just going to organize our stuff. We put a CRM system in place to give the company an advantage. What other type of data can we capture about our customers, which enables us to remarket to them, which gives us more information about who's buying and who's not buying, et cetera, et cetera. So what this process does is this starts out from the analysis. So we're going to do an assessment and we're going to go into analysis. We're going to go in a little bit deep into your company. We're going to get a real understanding of what that challenge that you're facing is going to be. You're going to come to me, you're going to say, hey, you know what? I've got this idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little bitty idea and I'm going to turn this into something that's going to be a big, scary vision, something that's really going to make an impact. We never want to go to market with something that's going to be okay. We want to go to market with something that's going to be like, damn.
Yeah. Bravo. Standing up.
We want to go to market with something that's going to scare us just a little bit. If it scares us just a little bit, we know it's something that's going to really, really push the envelope and give us an opportunity to really stand out in the marketplace. And that's really key for being successful in the business. You will not be successful doing the same thing everybody else is doing. You will not be successful just trying to catch up with what everybody else is doing. You've got to zig when everybody else is zagging if you're planning to be successul.
Yeah, and I found that out the hard way. I'm the school of hard knocks, like personified. But I learned, and that's why I love being, the founder of the Hounds. I get to interact and learn from, and even hire folks like you guys when it comes up, right? And thank goodness, because doing it myself, I'm not qualified to do most of what I try to do. And so, last two questions in the last few minutes. If someone's sitting on a big idea, right? They're already established, or maybe they're not. Maybe they've got roots, but they're looking to expand, right? A lot of folks listening are already established. They just want to do more. But they're afraid it'll cause chaos. And how does it look? Or they don't know where to go. What's your message to them?
It's always best, and I do this myself. It's always best to get an outside perspective on things, and an objective perspective on things. It's like I come out, I say, hey, I'm going to do a retreat. It's just like, hey, you know what? There's 100,000 people doing retreats. Why the heck are you doing a retreat? It's right. It's not something that makes good sense. but then we sit down, we look at, hey, what can we do to serve our market? What can we do to make sure that we're giving people extraordinary value? And so this is the first thing that you want to do. Just sit down and get someone to objectively work through it. We want somebody that's going to push back. We want somebody that's going to ask those critical questions, because if they're not getting asked, they're not getting answered, and you can go into market, and flop. You waste a bunch of time, I've seen projects that have gone for like 2-3 years, just like on this mediocre trajectory. And it's just like, you actually missed your market opportunity. Technology surpassed what you're doing now. So
right. But here's the good news. There's more. Don't miss the next one, dadgummit. That's right. And on that note, all right, on that note, how can folks come to you? What's your process, and how can folks learn more about working with, collaborating, and connecting with you directly, Rick?
For sure. Easiest thing to do is go to bigscary.vision, and that's bigscary.vision. Now, if you forget and you go to bigscaryvision.com, you'll end up in the same place. So bigscary.vision. And we've got the products there. So we've got the accelerator there, which is a great product. We're offering a peer group, which is going to allow people to go through a similar process. And then we also have periodic, we'll call them retreats, but they're what we call the Catalyst Experience. The Catalyst Experience is a longer version of the accelerator product, and it's a really great immersive program. You will learn a ton. We've got speakers, we've got different processes that will allow you to go home with not just ideas, not just a bunch of paperwork, but a solid plan that you're going to take and integrate into your organization. All of our programs have follow-up. So if you do an accelerator, you're going to still work with me for another 90 days after we finish the program. Okay. And I'm going to work with you to make sure that you get what you need. If you join the Catalyst Experience, you're going to have me following you around for about a year to make sure that you're getting what you need in your organization. So this is important to me. It's not good enough to just create a solution, to have an innovation, to have a plan. I want to see every single person I work with have a successful integration.
Yeah, daggum straight, because things will happen, right? Is that Murphy's Law? Stuff's going to happen, oops, and things. But so having that guidance, it's like having a personal trainer. If you're going to the gym for the first time, learning new processes, makes a lot of sense. So real quick, last minute, 60 seconds, gotta ask, what's the one truth about innovation you wish every business owner understood before they hit the go button?
The idea is to come up with something that will give your business strategic advantage. We don't do innovation just because something is cool. We do innovation so that we have something in the marketplace that nobody else is offering. Okay. And we're putting it out to our market. It doesn't mean that because you can offer innovation to different market segments that will be different than what somebody else is doing. So don't get caught up in the idea that it's, hey, you know what, this has got to be a new iPhone, for example. It's not that. It's finding a different way to solve a problem for your community that is unique to the way that you do business. And this is so important.
That's exactly how I accidentally started the Hounds. Just going, is this the only way you can sell stuff? You got to be kidding me. I was like, so I just threw the Hail Mary pass, did it, and look what happened. Now we're on Redneck Camelot. So, Rick, I'm glad you're a part of that, man. Thank you for coming in and giving these big gallons of milk of value to the viewers, listeners. Folks, hey, it's not going to stop and slow down. All right. So go to bigscary.vision. Go check out what Rick Meekins has going on. You won't be sorry. Thank you for helping me. All right, Rick. Seriously, you got a mind. I need that kind of mind, and I don't have it. So thank you, brother. And hey, folks, tune in next week. Jesse Dobeck of InfluencerSoft. Wow, this guy, he is working with some of the top tier companies, names that you guys know without doubt. He's going to be on here sharing what he knows about how to get out there in the marketplace, how to make high value connections, move people forward, and get seen. So thank you, Rick. Love having you in the pack. Mike King, you're the man. All the audience, man, we love you guys. So we'll be in the same time next week. All right, go out there, think about it. That's the definition of entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurs find gaps and problems that haven't been solved yet. So the next time you go, why didn't somebody fix that? Maybe you need to take that and go call Rick. That's what I'm going to do. So be good, y'all. Appreciate you. Everybody in the comments, you're amazing. See you on the next one, folks. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.